Oh no, I was muted. Oh, Josh is gonna get me. Son of a bitch. Okay, wait, Josh, wait. Josh, before you send me a text message, listen, just listen. I was overly excited. That's why I left the mute button by accident. The reason I was overly excited is today's the last day of the OJ trial. Tomorrow starts the Furman trial. A whole different trial. It's disgusting. It's horrible. Ugh. But I feel that after all these months of the OJ trial, us finally finishing it today and starting the Furman trial tomorrow is worthy of maybe an accidental mute, because it's very exciting. It's something we've worked at for over a year. Anyway, here we go. Just keep going.
Dr. Henry Lee is on the witness stand undergoing cross-examination by Mr. Goldberg. Hold on just a second. Got all our equipment? All right.
And your sound isn't working. It's gonna work right now.
I put the number 10 sticker
Whew, what a day.
on Exhibit A, 598A, on the 11th tile. And Dr. Lee then said that he had seen something on 11 down, 3 across from left to right. I've moved it. I've moved number 10 in Mr. Sheck's presence now to the 10th tile.
All right, so we're agreed that the marker for the 10th tile is now correctly placed on this exhibit, correct?
Yes, and there's other testimony about other tiles, but
All right, thank you.
Now, Dr. Lee,
The appellate courts will just love this record.
what?
Never mind.
Dr. Lee, directing your attention to photographs 598A, B, and C, do you see some footprints on those photographs that are consistent with what has been identified as the Bruno Mali design?
yes,
Okay. Do you see any items on there that can be identified as footprints that are inconsistent with the Bruno Mali design?
I see some imprint evidence in different locations. I don't know what type of pattern. It's if we call this column number 1, column number 2, we can see column number 1 and column number 2, they are vivid pattern, which consistent with Bruno magnet. Of course, those out of focus, I don't know. Column number 3, there are some appear to be imprint evidence, which I don't know what kind of pattern.
Okay, so the only imprint evidence on any of these photos that we can say is a shoe is consistent with the Bruno Mali design. Is that correct?
These two in focus. These two is in focus, I can tell. The rest of them, I cannot tell.
All right. Now, did you take a look at Bill Bodziak's diagrams and notes with respect to his investigation of shoe print evidence in the Bundy location?
No, this is the first time I see this beautiful chart. And a lot of blue, red, dark blue, all different color, which appears to be indicate some footprint.
No, let's put it up. Can I put that up on another easel, Your Honor?
Yes. All right, and Mr. Fairtlow, which diagram is this?
This is People's Exhibit
Doctor,
387B.
while we're waiting for them
Thank
to put that up, the other items that you said are imprints
Yes,
that you can see, are you saying that those are shoe prints, are not shoe prints, or I don't know?
I can tell you that's imprint, but I cannot tell you definitively those are shoes.
Okay. Now, Doctor, were you aware of any testimony by Mr. Bodziak on cross-examination offering a theory that someone perhaps turned around and went back down the walk as well, with wearing Bruno Mali shoes?
When I examine some crime scene photo, although it's a second, third generation, I do see couple footprint out of place in different direction. So I concur with his opinion. That's just interpretation.
All right. But that there seem to be fewer prints, perhaps, we'll strike that. Okay. Now, Doctor, excuse me, Your Honor, I'd like to mark as people's next in order. That would be 598 E and F.
599? I'm sorry, 598, we're still doing the
Yes.
magnetic, all right.
E is what appears to be a, no, we already had.
ABC,
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
D.
I thought we'd already marked a D, sorry. So D is going to be, excuse me, there is a D. Okay, yes, there was a D, Your Honor. Okay, as E, what appears to be a further away view of what appears to be a parallel line imprint that intersects with the tile. And then as F, what appears to be a closer view of the same photograph.
Before it describes what they are, maybe you can show them to the witness and authenticate them in that fashion.
He gets to do it the way he wants to do it, counsel.
No, I'm only talking about the description of what it contains.
Your Honor, for the record, I'm taking C and B down, but I'm going to leave A up. And Doctor, I'm going to put A on its side. And the way that I've arranged this, the dog's bowl is on the left-hand side of the photograph. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So looking at it, it's as if we're sort of looking down the walk towards the alley. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now I'd like to show you what has been marked as E, and I'm orienting that so that the tile is parallel with the floors that's on the board in this courtroom. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'd like to show you F, and I'm orienting that similarly so that the tile is parallel with this courtroom floor.
Yes, sir.
Now, do these two photographs depict the same scene?
It appears to be depict the same thing, appears to be enhanced photo.
Excuse me?
Enhanced photo.
You mean enhanced, enlarged, or
Enlarged or enhanced because the contrast is much better than before. Them much better than my original.
Looking at this photograph, or these two photographs now, does this item that intersects, the imprint that intersects the walkway, appear to be more consistent with the shoe print than in the photos that you looked at?
Maybe. I cannot, I still call it imprint. I cannot say that's a photo.
All right. Now, with respect to this photograph, sir, there appear to be a number of dark spots,
Imprints, yes.
little dark patches.
Yes.
Were there berries on the walk?
Yes, sir. There are berries on the wall.
And did the berries leave numerous berry stains in the area?
I guess berries, somebody step on the berry, going to leave some berries.
So when we're looking at these little dark splotches on the photograph, those appear to be...
Those are residue of the berry, not the berry stain.
All right. Now, Doctor, I'd like to direct your attention back to Bill Wozniak's diagram.
Yes, sir.
And let's count over to the 10th tile. 1, 2. Okay, so the 10th tile is to the right between J and K and H and I. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So the closest photographs we have to that tile would be photographs depicting H, I, J, and K. Correct?
This, by the way, not the 10th tile. This E and F, by no means, is not 10th tile. Also going to be 10th tile, as I just noticed, the chart was upside down. Should be here, right here the second, instead of on this side.
Okay, now by second one, what are you talking about? The other imprint that's
No,
not on.
Not, you did not show that one. That shows the footprint.
Okay, the one that's in a footprint is on what tile?
10th tile, 10, 1, 0.
Okay, 1, 0. So that should
What
be
if
between H, I, J,
1
and
0 is upside down, like the chart was, and it's really
It's not,
0
it's
1?
a little off. H, I, and J. Okay.
Okay, but do you have any note? You don't have any notes reflecting where that is.
There are 10
Only
types
Dr.
of people in
Barbara
this
Wall, I
world.
dictate to her, she wrote down 10th
People
tile,
who understand
parallel line,
binary and people who don't.
And with respect to the one that's intersecting the tile,
Yes.
that's the one where we don't know where it is.
Probably 5 or 7 in that neighborhood, but the notes did not reflect.
So E and F, we don't know.
We don't know.
All right. Now, let's take a look at the, and just so that we're clear, E and F are the photographs that you took on June the 25th.
Now, E, I took some photograph. You use my photograph to enlarge to enhance. Shows additional, as I pointed out, there are numerous imprint evidence on here. This wiggly line, that's another imprint evidence. Here is another parallel line imprint evidence, actually better than my own photograph.
Now, Doctor, would you agree, though, that these photographs were taken on June the 25th, E and F?
My photograph was taken on June 25th. This photograph definitely is not taken on June 25th.
Well, isn't this comes from your photograph, right?
So it's not from you are retaking my photograph. So you did not take on June 25th, 1995.
Okay, well, I don't want to get into semantics.
No, that's not semantic. That's really important.
Okay.
Because I took my picture on June 25th, 1994. This picture, somebody took a picture of my picture.
You know, at this time, I'd like to mark as People's 598G, a photograph of what appears to be the same as E and F, except that it's not enlarged.
All right.
Doctor, is this your picture?
Yes, sir. This is my picture.
Okay, let's just put that on the almost so we have that. Well, can't we get it? Your Honor, I'd like to mark as People's 598H. Do we have an H sticker? No, unfortunately, I don't have an H sticker, but fortuitously, this happens to be footprint H, and it has an H in it. I'd like to direct your attention, Dr. Lee, to a footprint that is in photograph H.
Yes.
Now, does this appear to be one of the photographs that was taken on the June 13th?
I trust you.
Okay. And incidentally, when we're taking photographs of shoe prints, is it preferable to have photographs, if possible, in black and white?
Yes.
And then I'd like to mark as People's 594I for identification.
598.
598.
598I. Another imprint. One of these now. So let's see.
Or you can just move them over.
That's all right. Now, I'd like to direct your attention to what a photograph that's actually previously been testified into this case, that's labeled H,
Yes.
and that is also depicted on Bill Boziak's diagram.
387B.
Yeah, this is H.
Okay.
And now I'd like to direct your attention to a photograph that's been marked as I for identification here. Now, I'd like you to compare very carefully E and I for identification.
Yes.
First, I'd like to direct your attention to the heel print of E and I.
Right.
Does it appear that the same portion of the heel print is missing in both of those?
Yes.
And I'd like to direct your attention to what would be the toe area of I.
Right.
Does it appear that with respect to the toe area of I, that portions of the toe area in relationship to the tile, the grouting in the tile, is consistent with its placement on E?
It could be. I cannot see that definitively, but could be there.
But you agree that that appears to
I
be
don't have
consistent?
the tile here.
All right. Now, Doctor, do you also notice what appeared to be in this photograph some possible splatter patterns, maybe from a bird?
That's a bird. If you say that's a bird, that's fine.
Can you take a look at that splatter?
How can I look at spider tell you that's a bird or squirrel or?
Oh, okay. Well,
I can't tell.
well, whatever it is, there's some sort of a white spatter pattern in there, correct?
Could be anything.
Okay, well, whatever it is, there appears to be some sort of a white mark that appears to be scattered. Is that correct? Okay, now I'd like to direct your attention to H for identification and see whether you can see that same spatter pattern appears in both photographs.
Oh. Looks like a similar pattern, but again, I cannot tell you that's a spider or not spider. If you just want to ask me, is this the more or less like same location? I will tell you it looks like a more or less same. If you use this landmark. Whether or not on the walkway have other so-called bird or spider or not. For example, here you have one, it's not showing in the photo. I don't know.
Or this could be a photographic.
Well, you know,
novel,
this
right?
could be a photograph.
Except
In
that-
fact, anything is possible.
Right. And these are some of the problems we get into with photographs.
Right, because
Okay.
look at here, you have additional stuff. Here, I don't see additional stuff. It's kind of difficult to just look at the picture. That's the difficulty.
Hey, now, Dr. Lee,
Yes.
if you are photographing footprints on a walkway, you are supposed to use a tripod, is that correct?
That's correct. I'm supposed to. Ordinary, if I do my crime scene, I do. If you want me, did I take this with a tripod? No, I only have 20 minutes, just enough to get there, take a couple of shots, and get out.
But if someone does take a picture with the tripod and they're not adjusting, they're trying to keep the tripod at the same height as they go down the walk, photographs should match up much better than one would expect, is that correct?
In certain aspect, it's correct, but for example, this photograph, it's not correct. The ruler blocked the shoe. And we're supposed to have a T-bar shape. This blocks something, here blocks something. You are not seeing the whole shoe.
Well, Doctor, also you used a metal retractable.
That's all I get.
But you're not supposed to use that in super photography, correct?
No, not say no, you're not supposed to. You only can use whatever you get that moment. If I bring my whole crime scene lab to Bondi that day, of course I can. Tripod, laser light, I'm probably going to use chemical enhancement. I probably can develop. Minimal, I just look at the
Your Honor,
photo.
actually, there's no question you can at this point. All right.
The question was regarding the ruler. Proceed.
Okay. Well, Dr. Lee, you didn't use one of the rulers that you've marked in evidence. so
That's
we're-
called a ruler too.
Appears to be a tape measure.
All right, so take measure. All right, at any rate, let's not get off this subject and do it in another area. Do you notice on H there appears to be a little portion
Hey,
of...
Zach.
Yes.
I have a question
Now
for
let's
you.
try to match up what appears to be a possible splatter
I already
pattern
know it's
and
no.
the heel print.
I already know it's no. But I'm just asking because I was wondering. A year ago. Yes, you have to think back for a whole year. Law Talk with Mike had a live stream or a video. I can't remember which. Most likely a live stream. It was a live stream. Because it was something like a flamingo disrupts the stream or a flamingo something the stream. Was that yours? Or was that just a coincidence that he used the word flamingo? Was that your daughter?
I'm now blocking part of your photograph.
Yes.
Does that appear to match up
Yes, sir.
reasonably well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it reasonable to believe that these two photographs are depicting portions of the same tile?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Goldberg, you...
I'm blocking the jurors again.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
it's all right. That's not my concern. I just need, the record needs to reflect that you superimposed H over
Overall.
I. Thank you.
Now let's take a look at, back at A. Let's go on to the ninth tile. We have a little bit of a heel imprint that seems to be consistent with H.
Right.
And we have another larger footprint on the intersecting the 8th and 9th tiles
Right.
that appears to be consistent with I,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
All right. Now, directing your attention back to your photograph, the June the 25th photograph, let's
Yes,
call
sir.
it that. Do you notice what appears to be a similar heel print in the bottom corner of the tile?
Could be.
And does that appear to be consistent with the portion of the heel print in H?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, with respect, now, Doctor, is it reasonable to believe that we have now identified photographs that were taken on the 13th of the same area that was photographed on June the 25th?
Yes.
Now, with respect to the wave-like pattern
Yes.
on the June the 25th photograph, is it fair to say that that does not appear in the June 13th photographs?
It's under the ruler, first thing. Second, this problem much lighter compared to this pattern. If it made a blood, this is dark, this is going to be much lighter, which if you have a direct lighting, you probably, just like Mr. Goldberg just say, reflection, bleach out, all kind of possibility, you may don't see it. After time, aging, progression, this thing get darker, darker. That's why the contrast you start can see. Unless you can see it, you can take picture.
Okay, well, Dr. Lee, with respect to the June the 25th photograph
Right.
and the wave-like pattern, this was not one of the items that you identified as being a parallel line.
No.
And this was not something you identified as being consistent with blood, is that correct?
I did not test, I test this area, I test some other area. There's a couple area, I don't recall exactly the spot. So long ago.
So you can't recall.
I can't.
All right. But just so that it's clear, if we look at I and H,
Yes.
and we're looking at the intersection of the tile in the area of the heel print on H,
Right.
does that appear to be the same as the intersection on E that also contains a partial heel print?
Yes.
Now, is there any photographic, would you agree that there is no indication of the parallel line imprint on the June the 13th photographs?
Not what we can see.
Because here we see a fairly dark impression, is that correct? And distinct
That's correct.
impression. And when I'm referring to here, I'm talking about the June the 25th
Yes, sir.
photograph. But we do not see that on the June 13th photograph, is that correct?
With this particular photo.
Ron, the record should reflect Mr. Goldberg was pointing towards, I think it's 598H at that moment, the black and white.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to move on to a different but related area. But before I do that, would it be possible for the jurors to get a close-up view of the photographs that are now on the board?
And please have them take their
All right.
time.
Let's start with juror number 1.
No, Judge,
Mr. Goldberg.
you start with juror number 7, jerk.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Your Honor, I wanted to show one of the videos that was previously marked as 101, but Mr. Scheck now wants to approach.
All right, with the court board, please.
Your Honor, while we're doing that, is it okay if we take these boards down?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Exhibit is this?
I'm sorry. It's 101.
All right, I'm going to ask that we preview the matter first so the court and counsel can see it only.
And I had a couple of questions of Dr. Lee prior to that, if I
All right,
might.
but just so our technical staff can set that up first.
Thank you. Dr. Lee, would you agree that if footprints were deposited on the Bundy Walk after the crime scene photography was done and after the crime scene was shut down, that those footprints would not be of forensic relevance?
I can't say that totally. Depends what kind of context you put in. Sometimes the criminal go back to the scene. And we do take considerations.
Okay, well, other than something that's just completely speculative, would you say that generally if a police officer or a citizen, whoever it was, deposited the shoe prints after the photographs and after the crime scene was shut down, that that's not something of forensic relevance?
If in blood, that's still significant.
If they traipsed through blood and then deposited shoe prints, do you
Yes.
think that that's significant?
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this. If a police officer or a citizen or a photographer traipses through blood after the crime scene shut down and deposits shoe prints, is that going to help you identify the suspect?
If all the evidence already collected, they abandon the scene, that means no significance.
Okay. Can we now preview the tape on the council table, monitors?
All right, Matt, can we just on council table, please? All right. right, Mr. Shack, do you recollect the videotape? All right, do you recollect the videotape, Mr. Shack? All right, Mr. Goldberg, do you wish to play this for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Farrell, would you rewind and play, please? Mr. Goldberg.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, did you just view the videotape that we showed to the jurors?
That's the first time I see this videotape.
Okay. Now, if one of these officers that are depicted in the videotape deposited shoe prints after the crime scene was shut down, would that help us determine who committed the murders?
I don't think these two officers deposited those shoe prints.
Well, what I'm asking you is, if these officers deposited shoe prints, would it help us determine who committed the murders?
If that belongs to them, no.
All right. And if these officers or some other member of the public or someone else that came in later deposited the shoe prints that were seen on your photographs taken on June the 25th,
Yes.
would
Sustain.
the two photographs on the walkway, would that help us determine who the killer was?
Again, what the photograph I took in June 25th is parallel line design. These two officers, I don't think their shoe sole pattern is similar to the parallel design. It's on the second platform. This footprint has to left in blood, not great amount of blood. If a great amount of blood, we should see much darker color. What I see is grayish color. Need a lot of experience to recognize that. If those footprints, say, in fact, left by these two officers, have no significance.
Now, sir, did you examine the shoes of any of the officers depicted in the photo?
These two officers, if a standard police department issue, maybe I don't think they are parallel design.
Okay, and that was the basis of your view, is that okay?
Right.
Okay, now, if this jury has already heard and seen evidence that Los Angeles police officers wear shoes with a very wide assortment and array of sole designs, would that change your view?
If you
And,
can give me those shoes, I can tell.
and if the jury already saw where the shoes were manufactured and the process of manufacturing those shoes, and if the jury already heard testimony from people who work in the store that sell the shoes, would that change anything? Because we heard all of that crap during this trial. That meant nothing to nobody.
Tell you right away what type of shoes.
That's not quite what I asked. If Mr. Bodziak, in his testimony, introduced and talked about numerous pictures of police officer shoe prints showing a variety of different patterns.
Well, then you should ask Mr. Boziak.
Okay, all right. One moment, Your Honor.
Certainly.
Sir, hypothetically, if these police officers that we saw in the video walked through the area after the crime scene was broken down, if Nicole Brown's family walked through the crime scene after it was broken down on June the 13th, if an individual by the name of Ron Hardy walked through and hosed portions of the crime scene on June the 14th, and a number of other people walked down the walkway prior to the time that you got there.
Yes, sir.
Proper foundation.
Can you eliminate the possibility that those people deposited prints at the scene?
I cannot eliminate.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Mr. Schecht, you need a brief break to reorganize?
A few minutes just to
All right.
reorganize.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, there are a lot of exhibits, and we're going to shift now to the redirect examination. I'm going to give counsel a couple of minutes just to organize the exhibits, so let me just ask you to step back in the jury room for a quick comfort break, and we'll call you out in about 10 minutes. All right, let's take 10. All right, Doc. Well organized? All right, back on the record. All parties are again present. Jury is not present. Deputy McNair, let's have the jurors, please. And we'll break at 5. Ms. Clark, Mr. Cochran.
And it's a printout of what appear to be the prints that were on the second and third tiles rather. And I'd like to mark as 595A what appears to be the printout of the evidence envelope with the yellow circle around the dot.
All right, thank you. So marked. Mr. Schecht.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Lee, Mr. Goldberg asked you a number of questions today about imprint evidence.
Yes, sir.
Now, first, let's talk about imprint evidence on the envelope, the piece of paper, and Mr. Goldman's jeans. Dr. Lee, is it your understanding that each of those items was recovered on June 13th?
Yes, sir.
This is 1339, Your Honor. The board entitled Imprint Evidence Bundy. Imprint evidence on Mr. Goldman's blue jeans.
All right.
Dr. Lee, in the sections marked imprint 1, imprint 2, imprint 3, are these imprints?
Yes, sir. It's consistent with imprint.
You have made a distinction here between scientific fact and interpretation.
Yes, sir.
As far as you're concerned, are these imprints scientific fact?
Yes.
Dr. Lee, you were shown some videotapes of police officers walking out of the crime scene after it was broken down.
Yes.
For their shoes to have left imprints on Mr. Goldman's jeans, they'd have to step on them, right?
Argumentative, Your Honor.
Overruled.
In theory, yes.
Dr. Lee, for a detective or a photographer visiting the crime scene on June 13th to make imprints on Mr. Goldman's jeans, they'd have to step on them.
In theory, yes.
Your Honor, it's argumentative because he didn't say they were shoe prints.
Overruled.
This is entitled Imprint Evidence at Bundy. 1338 consists of 4 photographs, imprint on paper, close-up of imprint, imprint on envelope, close-up of imprints. I also have 1338A, which is a photograph of the piece of paper that has blue markings on it entitled PLP, and 1338B, which is the envelope that also has blue markings on it entitled PLP.
All right.
Dr. Lee, are these parallel lines imprints on the piece of paper and the envelope? First of all, are they imprints?
It's consistent with imprint.
Is that a scientific fact, sir?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Lee, could the police officers that were just shown in the videotape by Mr. Goldberg have made the parallel line?
Objection? He's not allowed to say that, is he? Is that a scientific fact, sir? He's not allowed to say that, is he? The jury is the finder of facts. They're not allowed to say what is a fact in the middle of a trial, are they? Oh, I took Latin. A lot of Latin. 12 years of Latin. You didn't miss anything. No, I can't speak Latin.
Imprints on the piece of paper on the envelope?
No.
Speculation, Your Honor. Motion.
LCHS here.
Dr. Lee, if a photographer or a detective that came to the scene were to have made these parallel line imprints on the piece of paper in the envelope, they would have had to come over and step on them.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Lee, show you what is, I guess, People's 598A, Your Honor, and this is one of those photographs that have been blown up and magnetized.
Yes.
And this is the one that's entitled A and has now the number 10 on a tile.
Yes.
Step down.
Dr. Lee, you may step down.
And Your Honor, do you have a removable stick and arrow so that I can put a mark on it and then remove it? Dr. Lee, you indicated on cross-examination that you had never seen a photograph of this scene of this quality before.
That's correct.
And when Mr. Goldberg was asking you questions about imprint impressions, you said that you had observed something on this photograph.
Yes, sir.
And that was on, counting, I guess, using the tiles where the number 10 is, it would be the 1, 2, third one over.
Yes.
Where,
Leading.
Sustain.
all right. Please show the jury by putting the yellow stick on.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that nothing be put on it that's going to obliterate part of the exhibit.
All
So
right,
this
this is a removable
Oh, this is removable?
post,
Okay.
post-it type
All right, I know.
point.
Yes, Dr. Lee, could you please indicate what imprint impressions you saw in the area of, withdrawn, misuse of word. All right. In terms of imprints, column number 1.
Number 1. 2, 3, the third column. On the third column, I can see imprint evidence. Column number 3. 1, 2, 3. I can see imprint evidence. Column number 1, number 2, number 3. I can see imprint evidence along this column.
Now, Dr. Lee, in terms of the imprints that you described for us before on the envelope, the piece of paper on the jeans, are those consistent with having been made in blood?
Leading.
Sustain.
With respect to blood, right, are the imprints consistent with having been made in blood?
Yes.
Now, are there methods that are available to a forensic scientist when examining imprint evidence at a crime scene that have been made in blood to visualize them?
Yes, so-called enhancement technique.
Now, calling your attention again to 583A, and the scene is depicted here. What techniques could have been used on June 13th with respect to enhancing imprint evidence here?
Beyond the scope, irrelevant.
Sustain.
Right. What techniques are you talking about for enhancing imprint evidence made in blood at a crime scene?
Beyond the scope and irrelevant.
Sustain. Was not in response to a question, that statement. There's also a line of, we discussed this before, Counsel.
Well, Mr. Goldberg asked you about techniques that can be used in terms of photography for visualizing imprint evidence or potential footprint evidence at the crime scene. You recall those?
Or,
Yes, I recall.
All right.
Recall this.
In your opinion, and you were asked questions about what you did on June 25th. Do you recall that?
Yes,
Vague, overbroad reading. Motion to strike.
In terms of what rulers you were able to lay out? Do you remember that?
yes.
All right. And what were the proper techniques for photographing and visualizing imprints? Remember those
Overbroad,
questions?
misstates the testimony.
All right. Now, Dr. Lee, in your opinion, with adequate time, what techniques can be used to enhance and visualize and photograph imprint evidence?
Same objections beyond the
Sustained.
scope.
sustained. You can go into the photographic aspects of it.
Well, if you mentioned something called a tolidine,
Yes.
is that an enhancement
Beyond the scope.
technique?
Sustained.
All right. If an enhancement method such as a tolidine is
No,
used,
Sustained, no. Sustained.
are there techniques that can be used so that when photographing imprint evidence, there can be better visualization?
Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
No. We're not going into other techniques.
It's not a question of other techniques. Your
Proceed.
Honor. Dr. Lee, you indicated that you're asked questions about the color of imprint evidence you saw on the walkway on pictures you took on June 25th compared to photographs that you saw on June 13th. Do you recall those?
Misstates the testimony.
Or,
Yes, I
Right.
do recall.
Now, assume that imprints have been made in blood. What effect does the passage of time have on the color of imprints?
When start aged, it become grayish and bluish, darker color.
And would an imprint that was made lightly in blood on one day, when examined 14 days later, appear darker than it did when first left?
Speculation.
foundation.
When you say that imprint evidence in blood gets darker over time, what is the basis of that opinion?
Basically, the protein and heme of the hemoglobin start react. Oxidation process, it become more visible. The initial deposit is less contrast, less visible, unless you enhance it. If aging, this aging processing will make it more visible.
So, in other words, over time, as the proteins degrade, the imprint becomes darker and more visible?
Bleeding.
Sustained.
If I understand your testimony correctly, I can't do that? I'm not allowed.
You understand it. Ask a question.
All right. So, what is the relationship between the breakdown in protein and the color of imprints made in blood over time?
In order to see it, to recognize it, you have to distinguish from the background color versus the imprint pattern color. If two colors are very close, sometimes human eyes cannot resolve. You can't see it. You photograph, you cannot take the image. However, when the time goes by, the denaturation of protein and the blood breakdown, also the bacterial reaction, everything, now this area, imprint area, if made in blood, start have a contrast with the background. Because background, if no protein, no blood, don't form a breakdown, stay in the same color. Meanwhile, the decomposition of the blood, everything become darker, so now you can see it.
Now, you were asked questions about how you took photographs and visualized imprint evidence on June 25th. Do you recall those?
Yes, sir.
Overbroad.
Now, if you had more time, what techniques could you have used to, with respect to photographing imprint evidence?
Same objections.
Sustained.
Were you limited in any way in what you could have done on June 25th in terms of visualizing and photographing imprint evidence?
Yes.
In what way?
Your Honor, same objections.
Or,
There are three limiting factors. The first, is the amount of time available to me. Second is the restriction. I wasn't allowed to edit something, remove something, or cut something. The third, of course, I don't travel with my crime scene van with me. So with that limited factor, I only can use a measuring tape and camera, catch the image, whatever available.
In terms of, you were asked, now 1337A is a photograph of a shoe print, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there any doubt in your mind that that is a shoe print of a parallel line pattern?
No.
Is that a scientific fact?
Yes.
Now, other imprints that you saw on the walkway were not in the complete pattern of a shoe print.
I cannot come here to tell you those are definite shoe.
Now, enhancement techniques, can they reveal more than just what one sees with the naked eye in terms of imprints made in blood?
Same objections, Your Honor.
Sustain.
Now, Dr. Lee, you were asked on cross-examination questions about, withdrawn. And finally, on 598A, where you've put the yellow marker, you've indicated that what you see as imprint evidence is something in this row of tiles that is leading in a trail back to the rear of the Bundy location.
Leading in the state's testimony.
Sustain.
In which direction, just visualizing in this photograph, looking from the yellow arrow towards the step area. Between those two markings, the yellow arrow and the step area, do you see a series of images that could be imprint evidence?
Yes.
Could that be consistent with a trail of imprints heading out the back of the Bundy location?
Calls for speculation, Your Honor.
Well,
It could be consistent. I cannot tell you exactly what pattern, what type of.
Dr. Lee, you were asked a series of questions about the absence of evidence in crime scene techniques. You recall that?
Yes.
And
The state's testimony.
you mentioned in your chart before something known as recognition.
If counsel's not going to ask questions, and ask him about the chart, he should be allowed to read that.
You recall your discussion before on cross-examination about recognition
Yes.
and collection, preservation, and documentation.
That's correct.
All right? Now, in terms of the absence of evidence, if imprints are not recognized, documented, preserved, and collected by criminalists, does that mean they are not there?
Beyond the scope argument.
No, they're not. Definitely not means not there. May be present. However, lack of a documentation, enhancement, or collection, nothing I can do about it.
Motion to strike the last part of his answer.
Now, with respect to the imprints on the envelope and the piece of paper, you were asked some questions in cross-examination about cuffs and fabric. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
Now, you examined Mr. Goldman's boot.
Yes.
Could Mr. Goldman's boot be the source of the parallel line imprints?
Asked and answered beyond the scope.
Mr. Goldman's shirt, could that be the source of the parallel line imprints?
Asked and answered beyond the scope.
was asked and answered once before, Counsel.
I'm sorry?
We have that question and answer in the record.
I understand that, but this is a
right,
redirect
if you
examination based on fabrics.
It's already there. It's redundant.
You could say that about, this is,
Proceed.
say that about everything.
Proceed.
All right. You were asked about fabrics making imprints. You recall that on cross-examination.
Yes, sir.
Is there any fabric that you found at the crime scene that could have made the imprints on the envelope and the piece of paper?
Asked and answered.
No, I did not observe any similar pattern.
And in answer, and in cross-examination, you were asked about fabrics making such an imprint, and you said something about the necessity in these imprints on the envelope and the piece of paper for direct contact and a certain amount of force and no movement. You recall that?
Yes, I do recall.
Could you please explain that answer to the jury?
In order to get this transfer, first thing on the surface have to have liquid blood, a pattern. And the amount has to be just right. Something has to have similar pattern, which have to apply to the surface with certain pressure. I did not see any movement. In other words, it's not a smear. It has to be direct application with certain pressure, just like when you stamp something.
I think we're finished with this. Dr. Lee, you were asked certain questions on cross-examination about DNA testing. You recall those?
DNA?
DNA.
Yes.
Dr. Lee, are there correct ways to do DNA testing and incorrect ways to do DNA testing?
Yes.
All right? And if DNA testing is done properly, in your opinion, with RFLP and PCR, can it be reliable evidence?
That's my position all the time. DNA, if done properly, correctly, should be used as evidence.
All right? If done improperly, can it be unreliable?
If done,
Beyond the scope.
if done improperly, then should not be used.
You were asked questions about forensic scientists, molecular biologists, and having a say as to proper DNA methods. You recall those questions?
Yes.
And you said that forensic scientists should have a say on the methods that are used for the forensic application of DNA testing.
As a forensic scientist, definitely any...
Hold on. Dr. Lee, the question was, do you recall that testimony?
Oh, yes.
Next question.
And you were asked about, well, let me ask you, in terms of, you said, and is it your opinion, what is your opinion about about forensic scientists and whether they should have a say in terms of what are the proper methods for doing forensic DNA testing?
What I'm saying, as a forensic scientist, we're the one conduct the testing, we're the one look at the sample, we're the one evaluate the sample. So therefore, as a forensic scientist, we should have some saying in a committee, in a national meeting, international meeting, determine the procedure, the method, and the type of analysis we perform. As a forensic scientist, we should have some saying. And that shouldn't be just by other field of expert to dictate what we have to do.
And in terms of the role of molecular geneticists and population geneticists who are from clinical testing and academia, do they have a role as well?
They all have certain role, even attorneys also have the certain roles in the DNA applications.
And the NRC panel in which you served had representatives from all these groups.
Yes, sir.
Now, you were shown a picture that's 596 on cross-examination of the socks in Mr. Simpson's bedroom. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
And you indicated that that was the best quality photograph you'd been able to see prior to this occasion.
Yes. That's an excellent photo.
See any blood on those socks, Dr. Lee?
Objection.
Oh,
Calls for speculation.
oh.
I cannot determine any blood stain on there or not.
I didn't hear the last part of the answer.
So you cannot determine
Determine.
any blood stain on there or not.
Dr. Lee, you know Professor Herbert McDonald.
Yes.
And what is your opinion of his expertise?
Beyond the scope.
Sustained.
Well, you were asked questions on cross-examination about Professor McDonald and interpretations of the stains found on the sock.
Yes.
Amy,
And what is your
Are you trying to
opinion
set
of
things on
Professor
fire?
McDonald and his expertise in the area
Is
of
that what
bloodstain
you're
interpretation?
doing?
Beyond the scope.
Oh,
He have a great amount of experience and did a lot of experiment in the past, published a book involving interpretation of the blood stain analysis.
And did you examine the socks with Professor McDonald?
That was my cat.
Yes, we did.
All right. Did you see the red balls depicted in photomicrographs that he testified about?
Yes,
You take those pictures?
I took those pictures.
Do you agree with the testimony of Professor McDonald that in terms of the mode of transfer, which I believe was the form of the question on cross-examination, that the mode of transfer here with respect to the ankle stain on the sock was side 2 having come into contact with side 3?
Misstates the evidence, also calls for speculation, no foundation.
Yes,
Now, you were asked some questions on cross-examination about hair and trace evidence in the soil exemplar and other samples. You recall those?
that's correct.
And you recall some testimony, some questions on cross-examination about hair and trace evidence in the jury box.
Yes,
Now, Dr. Lee, if one were to drop a garment of some sort into the jury box area, would it be likely that hair and trace from some members of the jury panel might adhere to that garment if collected later?
Calls for speculation beyond the scope.
in theory, if I have a transfer, have a contact,
Scooter and
if the
Loki,
receiving
mother and
surface
daughter, they
and
hate each
deposit
other.
surface both have hair or fiber, now you have a cross transfer.
Now, you were asked some questions with respect to linkage. You recall those, four-way linkage?
Yes, sir.
Now, in terms of trace evidence and linkage, does the integrity of the evidence collection have some importance in terms of forming links in that four-way linkage diagram?
Vague as to integrity of evidence.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
If those trace evidence was not preserved properly, collect properly, things can missing, things can get cross-contaminated, a false linkage may be resolved.
And in terms of problems in recognition, preservation, collection, and documentation, if there is contamination of evidence or failure to recognize evidence, can that affect that four-way linkage?
Vague, Your Honor.
Yes,
And if some links in that four-way linkage, if some evidence is not even genuine, can that affect the four-way linkage?
Your Honor, I object. That's argument.
Sustained.
We have the boot.
I would love to give you the boot, sir. Love it.
All right, Mr. Harris, which exhibit is this?
I think this was a people's exhibit. I don't, maybe up on the top right. Did you use this picture, Hank, or did you just? Your Honor, this is a series of 3 photographs that I know was shown to the witness on cross-examination, but
Yes, it
apparently
step down.
Mrs. Robertson? I'm sorry.
we have that as 594.
All right, 594. Dr. Lee.
Dr. Lee, you were asked some questions with respect to these cuts on the boot. Do you recall those?
Yes.
And you were given some hypothetical about riding bicycles or reclining in chairs, things of that nature. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
Well, first, let me ask you, pointing to the photograph on the upper left-hand side of that cut, was that made with a sharp instrument?
Yes.
Calls for speculation. Also asked an answer.
Is that, in your opinion, a fresh cut?
Yes.
Asked an answer beyond the scope.
We have gone through this part.
What is the relationship between, if any, that you can see, between the damage caused by the one that we'll call the left-hand photograph, the penetrating cut, and the damage on the other boot?
Speculation, no foundation.
These two damage are different. This one and this one are different type of damage.
What are the differences?
This is a definitive and sharp. A piece of a rubber-like material separate, disappeared from the surface. This one is much superficial in a slightly wavy pattern. Debris appears to form into this wavy pattern. Here, no debris can be observed. So the force-wise, this much greater force, sharper instrument.
And Is there any question you were asked on cross-examination that changes your opinion that this is a fresh cut with a sharp instrument?
No, will not change my observation.
Thank you.
Mr. Harris?
Now, you were asked some questions about the Bruno Magli, what has been identified as the Bruno Magli shoe print, correct?
Well, actually, this is mistakes testimony.
Over.
Now, and in the course of your answers, you were discussing the need for side-by-side comparisons. You remember those answers in cross-examination?
Yes.
Could you please explain that?
If we see an imprint at the scene, if we see that imprint, if we document that, now we have an imprint evidence. That's called a quashing evidence. We don't know where they come from. We can identify, say this is a Bruno Magna or Reebok or Converse, that's called identification. Or After Our shoes, that's called identification. Now you need a known shoes to compare side by side. That's called comparison. When we compare side by side, not only look at the size, dimension, pattern, those called general characteristics. Just give you a general thing. Just like you at the scene, you see a fingerprint, that's a general characteristic, a fingerprint. To establish individualization, you need a known fingerprint from somebody to make a comparison, either the same or they're different. So for a imprint evidence or made of a shoe, we need a shoe to compare side by side. If we can link that shoe to that imprint, then that's called achieve individualization.
Now, Dr. Lee, you were asked some questions on cross-examination with respect to the transfer stains on the bindle from item 47. You recall those?
Yes.
And you were also asked some questions about some charts that appear in a publication entitled Experiments in Practical Exercise and Bloodstain Pattern Analysis by Labor and Epstein. You recall that?
Yes.
Your Honor, I don't know if Mr. Goldberg marked these. I know he showed them to the witness. If not, I'll mark them. I don't know what.
I don't recollect they were marked.
592?
Wasn't
Was not marked? All right, then I'd like to mark this as defendant's next in order.
1363.
1363?
1363.
1363.
Thank you. I thought he said that. It's the hearing that goes first. Is that-
1363.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Now, Dr. Lee, are you familiar with this study of drying times?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Goldberg asked you about drying times with different kinds of materials under different conditions. Do you recall that?
Yes.
All right. Now, on this study are a series of experiments performed for different amounts of blood.
Yes.
One being a single drop, one being 1 milliliter of blood, one being 5 milliliters of blood, one being 100 milliliters of blood.
Yes, sir.
And then there are a series of materials listed on the chart. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And out of the materials listed, which one would be the most comparable to the swatches at issue in this case?
objection calls for speculation.
Cotton cloth.
Now, what are the drying times for a single drop of blood under the three different conditions for cotton cloth?
Asked and answered.
It says condition 1, 55 minutes. Condition 2, 50 minutes. Condition 3, 350 minutes.
All right. And 350 minutes would be,
Approximately 6 some hours.
and,
Little under 6 hours.
okay. Now, in terms of this experiment, what is condition 3? What in terms of temperature, humidity, what is condition 3?
Not
Condition
your
3
seven, Josh.
appear in this
He ain't no
handout.
she ain't no
Laboratory
expert.
courtroom with good air movement, temperature 38 degree Fahrenheit, plus minus 0.1 degree, relative humidity 80% plus minus 6%.
Well, in plain English, is that a cold, damp room?
Yes, sir.
Is that something close to precipitation?
Yes, sir.
Now, what about condition 1 and condition 2?
Condition 1 says laboratory work table with normal room, air circulation, temperature 75 degree Fahrenheit plus minus 2 degree. Relative humidity 44% plus minus 2%.
Would that be what would be ordinarily referred to as room temperature in a laboratory?
Yes, sir.
And what is condition 2?
Condition 2, it says drying hook with good air movement, temperature 76 degree Fahrenheit plus minus 2 degree, relative humidity 44% plus minus 2%.
So, for a single drop of blood then, under condition 1, which described as Roman room temperature, the findings of Labar and Epstein is the drying time is 55 minutes?
Yeah, under 1 hour.
And under condition 2, it's 50 minutes?
Yeah, only 15 minutes. 50, not 15.
50.
50.
50. And is your understanding that each of the Bundy blood drops is a single drop
No foundation.
Sustained.
based on photographs that you've seen? The so-called items 47, 48, 49, 50, and 52, based on the photographs, what do they appear to be?
No foundation.
Sustained.
Speculation.
Sustained.
How many drops are there in a milliliter?
Irrelevant.
Oh, well.
Can be a lot of drops. And let's say we use a 0.005 as a norm. Of course, it's variable. It's a wide range of little drop, big drop, as I demonstrated to you before. Let's say we assume a norm 0.05 cc, that's almost 20 drops.
Sanctions.
Dr. Lee, finally, you were asked some questions about the closed-in area of the Bundy crime scene, the absence of evidence, and bloodstain patterns on cross-examination.
Plus, you have to get us all donuts.
Yes,
You recall that chart with the red tape you were asked to connect lines to?
yes, sir.
And you recall the 4.5 foot by 5 foot
Rectangle.
partial rectangle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, first of all, that description is sort of like part of a baseball diamond, insofar it's just two parts of the rectangle, correct?
I don't play that much baseball. I
Okay,
don't know
right.
a baseball diamond.
Well, let me ask you this, Dr. Lee. In a closed environment, closed-in environment, with hand-to-hand combat, with multiple stab wounds, with blood stains in different places indicating multiple contact smears, with vertical droplets in the areas of the different multiple contact smears, with other blood spatter cast off in different directions, with the key in one area, beeper in another area. In
That's
that kind
true,
of struggle,
Denisha.
you have an
You're
opinion
right.
as to whether or not an assailant or assailants would be covered with blood from the struggle.
Misstates the testimony, calls for speculation.
Over.
Incomplete hypothetical.
Over.
Yes,
What is that opinion?
in theory, should have some blood.
Finally, Dr. Lee, in terms of the fact that you found imprint evidence on the envelope, the piece of paper, Mr. Goldman's jeans, places on the Bundy walkway. The fact that you found it, does that mean it wasn't there on June 13th?
Argumentative.
It's compound.
Compound?
It's compound.
Well, let's talk about the wet transfer stains on Bindle 47. Did you see anything in LAPD records indicating that there was a wet transfer on the item 47 Bindle?
No,
Does the fact that it was not recorded on the LAPD notations mean that it wasn't there?
Assumes facts, not evidence.
Sustained.
Dr. Lee, you made the distinction between scientific fact and interpretation.
yes, sir.
Any question in your mind that the existence of that wet transfer is a scientific fact?
That's correct. It's definitive. That's scientific fact.
Is there any question in your mind that the blood swatches, such as we have in this case, after 3 hours, should be dry?
Calls for speculation, conjecture, no foundation.
Under normal condition, should dry.
If swatches were placed into a bindle, something less than 3 hours, maybe between an hour to 3 hours, might they leave damp, wet transfer stains?
It could have been.
Are you familiar with the testimony of Ms. Mazzola and Mr. Fung that the swatches that they took out of test tubes were dry?
Asked and answered, argumentative, misstates the testimony, no foundation.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Lee, you said at the end of your direct examination that as far as you were concerned, the existence of those wet transfers meant that something was wrong.
I recall last week I did say that.
All right. Anything that has been asked of you in cross-examinations change your opinion about that?
Your Honor, I'm going to object, 'cause that's not a forensic opinion. Motion to strike.
My opinion still remains the same.
Thank you.
Mr. Goldberg?
Dr. Lee, you said that your own experience, personal experience with wet swatches in casework was letting them dry overnight. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then after approximately 12 hours, coming back to the laboratory and seeing that they were dry.
Yes, sir.
And when was it that these personal experiences stopped?
Personal experience stop? No,
With-
I
with the-
continue gather personal experience. Even today, here, that's another personal experience.
With wet swatches in test tubes. The personal experiences in casework with wet swatches in test tubes that you referred to on direct.
The last experiment I conduct,
No, I'm not asking you about that. I'm saying casework experience.
Your Honor, I think the witness should be allowed to answer.
No, he's talking, it's clearly casework experience. That was the question.
Personal experience, Your Honor.
Casework experience.
Okay, Dr.
casework experience every day are, although I don't transfer blood stain every day, but my serologist, my DNA scientist, they all does that every day.
Non-responsive. Okay, motion to strike, Your Honor. Dr. Lee, let me ask it this way. You said that at some point you have switched from swatches to threads. Is that correct?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I say if at the scene have a blood stain, we're going to, if something can move, I usually advise take the whole thing back to the laboratory, move that. For example, this box have some blood drops. Just collect this box. If something cannot move, for example, deposit in this bench, then we scrape the blood stain. If cannot scrape, we use tape lifting.
Your Honor, this is all non-responsive. Motion to strike.
Ask your next question.
Okay, Doctor, let's just make it very simple. When stains are removed from a crime scene
Yes,
by eluding them onto some cotton object,
yes,
is it true that you are now using threads as opposed to swatches?
yes.
Okay, now when did that change take place?
I forgot. I don't know exactly day and time, probably a couple of years now.
Well, didn't you write in some of your 1986 work for the protocol for Connecticut State Police to use threads instead of swatches?
Yes,
Okay, so is it correct to say that since 1986,
We
you do
are
not have any personal
so
experience
close.
in casework
10 minutes, maybe?
with swatches at crime scenes?
no, that's not true. Every day we still,
You know what happens when we're done with Dr. Lee? Any idea? You want to take a wild guess what we do when we're done with Dr. Lee?
if the known sample submit to the laboratory, we transfer to a swatch. Still use swatch in the laboratory.
All right, but your personal experience in casework is checking the swatches 12 hours after they were set out to dry, is that correct?
Usually we dry overnight.
All right. And the purpose of the Labor and Epstein materials is basically a cautionary statement, as you said, to forensic scientists, be careful, drying times are hard to predict, a lot of variables go into it, right?
Yes,
All right. And you agree with that personally, don't you?
I agree with that. If a range, have a time of the range.
But you agree that there are many, many variables and it's hard to predict, as stated in Labor and Epstein, is that correct?
There are some variable, more variable at the crime scene and more variable in the laboratory.
All right.
Laboratory should be a control situation.
All right. And do you have personal knowledge as to how cold, what the temperatures were at LAPD?
No.
Drying facility overnight?
No,
All right. Now, let's get to one of your comments about, in theory, there should be some blood in response to Mr. Scheck's line of questioning.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Would that also depend upon where the suspect was standing?
Depends on whether or not a combat situation, hand-to-hand combat situation. If at distance, of course, the chances for getting blood on
Incorrect.
less some arterial spur or
Close,
certain force, internal
but
force
incorrect.
or external force. If an
Try
injury on the
again.
hand, have a cast off or have other motion, not going to cast to a greater distance. If in a close contact, if large amount of blood come out, you're going to have more blood.
Okay. What I'm asking you is, in this particular case, based upon what you know, from your own viewing of the evidence, not from the pathologist, what does some blood mean? Is there any way of
Yes,
quantifying that
well,
forensically?
if I look at Mr. Goldman's blue jean and his shirt, one side of his blue jean have large amount of blood covers. If a person in a close combat situation, that should cover with blood. If did not have a close combat situation in a distance, then you have less blood.
If someone is standing behind the victim in this case when his throat is cut, would that influence how much blood he had on him, the assailant?
Yes, that's going to be a factor. And again, Ron Goldman's blue jean in the back covered with blood, which if assume those blood from original scene, a person have a direct contact trying to hold him, then you're going to have transfer.
And you can't make that assumption, can
Be
you?
right back. I
No,
got the
I
wrong
wasn't
video
at the
ready,
scene,
I
I don't
think.
I mean, you can't make the
I
assumption
think.
regarding the blood pattern on Ron Goldman's jeans, is that correct?
I only can see on the blue jean there are patterns, but I know the mechanism, but I really don't know what the mean and mode transfer.
Let me ask you this, Doctor. Do you recall one of your fairly well-known cases back in 1984 by the name of People versus Hoplinger, where a husband beat his wife to death by hitting her numerous times in the head with a brick, drug her body out to a fish pond, drug her back into the house, and then claimed that someone else broke into the home and committed the murder? You did
80% correct. Not the drag to the fish pond, never got to the fish pond.
only part way.
Drag, carry to a location, end of the driveway, then drag into a pack of syndrome to near the neighbor's house, then carry the body, half drag, half carry, put back in the family room on the sofa.
And isn't it true that that kind of a assault with a brick on the head by beating numerous times produces enormous amount of blood? And it did so in the Hoplinger case.
Yes.
And isn't it true that on the suspect's jeans there were only 2 drops of blood?
Well, we assume that's the original gene. I don't have any record, but I do know he washed his T-shirt. I found a T-shirt washed in the pond.
Right.
But the blue gene, whether or not that's the original blue gene, I have no information and record of it.
Well, you testified in court, and those blue jeans were presented to a jury as being worn by the suspect, the husband, at the time of the murder. Is that correct?
That's a long time ago. If you say correct, probably correct. I don't recall. There are thousands of cases I've been working on.
Does that seem to be consistent with your
Sure,
memory?
sure.
And
Fine.
only 2 blood drops?
I don't remember. If you say 2 drops, it's 2 drops.
And the scene was covered in blood, correct?
Yes.
And when you testified, you didn't tell the jury in that case that you had any doubt about whether he was wearing those pants or anything to that effect, did you?
I wasn't asked as a scientist. I only can answer the question whatever the lawyer. Otherwise, I will be stopped.
All right. Well, I'm just going to give a copy of the transcript to counsel. At page 397 of the Hoplinger transcript. Sir, do you remember being asked a lot of questions?
Hold on.
Sorry.
With court order, please.
I did have the wrong video ready to go. But don't worry. Oops. It's fine. I have the right video now. So as soon as this day is done, and we're fast forwarding it a little bit, we're going to start the next part today. Oh my gosh.
Sir, if a person were to wrap their hands around someone's throat and slit that person's throat,
Yes, sir.
and the blood spurted forward, would you expect the assailant to be covered in blood?
Probably not.
All right. And, sir, if a person were for some reason to get blood on the front part of their body, however it might happen, during a bloodletting event, but not on their back during the assault,
Yes.
and their hindquarters during the assault,
Yes.
and they sat down in a vehicle, would you expect any kinds of transfers in that vehicle necessarily?
If the blood don't touch the surface, then you don't have transfer.
All right.
They don't
Now,
make enough
sir,
tequila.
you were asked about the imprint evidence a little bit on redirect examination. Did you read Bill Bodziak's report about his examination of the blue jeans, specifically the lower portion of the right leg?
I recall I did, but I don't remember all the detail.
But you do know Bill Bodziak from before this case, is
Yes,
that
he is
correct?
an excellent scientist. We're friends.
And he's a top-notch expert in the area of footprint analysis.
Yes.
And you have no specific recollection of what he said at this time in his report?
I can't stand Goldberg right now. I can't stand listening to these stupid questions when I know what's coming in a couple minutes. I can't stand sitting here waiting for him to finish this stupidness. It means nothing.
You can read to me. I can agree or disagree.
Okay, well, didn't you take that into consideration before you got on the witness stand and testified?
Well, different experts have different opinion. There are something called scientific fact. There are fact have imprint in blood. If he don't call that a footprint, I have nothing to argue with them. He entitled his own opinion. Each expert entitled our own opinion. Each of us have to live with our conscience
Okay.
standard.
And so-
Different expert can have different opinions.
Now, you said that in order for something to the effect that in order for an imprint to have transferred to the eyeglass envelope, someone would have had to have stepped on it. But is that true if it's not a footwear impression?
Something, as I say, something has to have some pressure direct applied onto the surface without movement. If this envelope on the ground, the more logical thing is somebody step on it.
But are you saying, sir, that that is a footwear impression now, or are you saying it could be any kind of
No,
impression?
I'm still saying that's an imprint. An imprint, say, is this consistent with a footprint? It could be a footprint. It could be other imprint.
And sir, regarding the item that you say that you see in the photograph that's on the 10th tile down and the 3rd tile across, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Are you forming the opinion that that is in fact an imprint, or are you forming the opinion that it is a possible imprint?
It's consistent with an imprint.
Okay. And consistent with means that it might not be an imprint, right?
Oh God, shut up.
In our standard, consistent means have this pattern similar to imprint. It
Well-
doesn't, if not imprint, I don't call it imprint. If definitely it's not the imprint, I will come here tell you that's not the imprint. It's a imprint. A imprint, which means something have a pattern deposit on the surface and cause a transfer. That's called imprint.
And that imprint, if it is an imprint, and if it's there,
I'm sorry, that is not an imprint. Have you not read any of the Twilight books? Imprint means something absolutely different. And let's just say, I am not imprinting right now. Not on you guys.
could be the Bruno Magli shoe, is that correct?
If parallel line cannot be, if a not parallel line have a Bruno Magli configuration and design, then it's Bruno Magli.
Okay, but in the photograph that you were shown of the Bundy
Wait,
walk,
wait.
you don't-
Wait. What? You can't order a double? What do you mean you can't order a double? How do you drink? What do you mean you can't order a double? There's nothing illegal with a double. Yo, I would just bring my own bottle. Absolutely. Most servers don't care if if you tip your own liquid into your own cup. Can't order a double.
Don't know from that photograph.
Oh, you mean the column 3, all those imprint? I thought you were talking about specific parallel line imprint I show you tile 10. Then you're correct. I don't know what kind of a pattern it is.
Okay, so those all could be consistent with Bruno Mali's shoes, is that correct?
Maybe. I don't know.
All right. And you were asked a question as to whether or not there could be a series of imprints to the, I'm going to say as we're looking down the walk towards Bundy, to the right of the center line. Is that correct?
I'm sorry,
To this
Counsel, you said
side?
we're looking down the walk towards Bundy?
We're looking down the walk towards the alley, sorry.
And this is
598A, I
A.
believe.
Yes.
To the right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know if there is, in fact, a series of prints in that location? Do you know whether it's coming down towards Bundy or heading away towards the alley?
I'm not that good yet.
What?
I say I'm not that good yet. Can tell you
Yeah, okay,
from a
okay,
distance.
okay, all right. And with respect to the impression on the envelope, the piece of paper,
Yes,
those could be a fabric imprint, is that correct?
it's consistent with the imprint.
And it could be fabric, is that correct?
It could be a fabric.
Did you make test impressions from any of the fabric that was at the crime scene?
I don't have a fabric impression.
And usually when one is trying to make a comparison, don't you try to take an impression?
If I have to make a comparison, I did not do such comparison. I did some measurement between the blue jeans, the shirt, the boots, are inconsistent with that design.
And, sir, is it true that there is no way to reconstruct whether or not the murderer's clothing is consistent with those imprints?
Unless I get the closing.
And when I was talking about these impressions I'm talking about, you understood me to be talking about the envelope and the piece of paper, correct?
Again, those are imprint, not impression.
Okay, but whatever, we can't at this point determine whether or not they were left by suspect's clothing, can we?
No.
Okay, thank you, I have nothing further.
Just one or two questions that I think will get us home. Giving me that look.
I didn't say a word, Mr. Chair.
No, you don't have to. I've been here a while.
If I were you,
I know.
you want to let me ask my one question?
All right. You were asked some questions just now by Mr. Goldberg about trace evidence and blood. Now, would you expect in a struggle where shoes were in blood, in soil, and crossed a path where there were berries, to find evidence of soil and berries and even hairs and fibers from victims in a car if the perpetrator had engaged in a struggle and walked into that car?
Your Honor, beyond the scope calls for speculation, assumes facts not in evidence. and states that's not.
If the shoes have contact the berry, contact the soil, or fiber debris, in theory, we should see the transfer.
And you might not, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, thanks.
All right. All right, Dr. Lee, thank you very much. You're excused, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the afternoon. Please remember all my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Most importantly, don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations until the matter has been submitted to you. Don't allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. As far as the jury is concerned, we'll stand in recess. Let me see counsel as far as scheduling is concerned.
And in fact, did you on at least one occasion tell Officer Furman that the
My bad,
transcripts you were...
Shh. You are not allowed to speak, sir. No, it's time, guys. Hold on, I had it ready, but I got all excited and I moved it, and then I don't know where I put it. Oh, for crying out loud! I have too many tabs open, and it's all one list now, and it's not thumbs. Oh my gosh! I swear I just had it ready. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. I don't know what to do. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'll just open up a new one. I'll just open it up for the 6th time. It's not a problem. I'm already on the right account. I have too many tabs open. Guys, I'm working on something humongous. And it has all my tabs open.
He walked up, but generally I was looking over some notes or thinking.
Okay, this is August 28th. Why am I saying this is August 28th? This is August 29th. First part. I just want to make sure. Yep, she's on the stand. Okay, this is... it was fast-forwarded a little bit. Hold on. I'm going to play the first part.
Moment he walked up, but generally.
Okay, and now my recorded video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this one completely. That way I do not accidentally press play on the wrong one, because that would be pretty bad. How is our size? Perfect. Guys, are you ready? Are you guys ready? I don't know if I'm ready. It's so disgusting. All right.
He walked up, but generally I was looking over some notes or thinking about the extent to which women could succeed in areas of violent crime in law enforcement. There had been some rumblings in Santa Monica, where I lived, about a particular woman officer who was incapable of performing some acts, and I was writing or thinking about that.
So you expressed to him your interest in writing about women who are employed as police officers?
Yes.
And he indicated to you that he had some strong feelings about that subject?
Sustained.
What did he respond?
It was around that time that he told me he was an officer and had strong feelings about whether or not women should be on the Los Angeles Police Department and working specifically in areas of high crime.
Did he tell you anything about any organization he was active in with respect to that issue?
Yes, he mentioned Men Against Women, which is actually policemen against policewomen, commonly called MAO.
Now, as a result of this conversation, did you agree to have further conversations with Officer Furman?
Yes.
How did that come about?
After he told me about this particular group, Men Against Women, it stirred a curiosity, and I was very interested in finding out why a group like that would be formed, what kind of frustrations some men working on the police department would have that would cause them to want to join a group like that, and what kinds of things they would do to stonewall or embarrass or humiliate women. And also what kind of effect that had on women, how they would
I'm in a group, Women Against Mao.
feel. So I thought that that particular issue was something that I really
We're
would like to
very
explore,
violent.
and I would very much like to have his point of view as to why some men felt very strongly that some women were incapable of working in areas of high crime.
Now, is this a frequent or common arrangement when someone is doing a screenplay or preparing a treatment for a screenplay to consult with someone with first-hand experience?
Roll. Do you understand the question?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I work that way. I don't know how frequently all writers do. I would think frequently. You really need, if you're going to write about a particular issue and you want to be able to obtain different points of view, then you need to talk with people who have that kind of experience, and you also need to be able to understand procedural issues in many different facets. So it's a very common practice for me. I do extensive interviews and with people, and I shadow them with their permission at work just to see what kinds of obstacles they have during the day, who their friends are, what their conversations are. So it's a common practice with me.
All right. And was Mark Furman the only person you were meeting with or consulting in the course of preparing this treatment?
Sustained.
At the same time, well, let's start with Officer Furman.
I'm still at the cafe in Westwood.
Okay. Did you agree at the cafe in Westwood that you would continue to meet with Officer Furman for the purpose of getting this background information that you want?
Yes.
How soon after your initial meeting did you first sit down and talk with him in an interview format?
In early April,
Now, this interview, where did that take place?
we usually met at Alice's restaurant in Westwood. I believe it's on Westwood Boulevard.
And again, briefly describe your purpose in having this meeting in April at Alice's restaurant.
I needed to hear his ideas, his thoughts, his feelings about some elements of police work.
Did you tape record that interview?
Yes, that initial interview, a taped interview in April, was taped. I believe that was April 2nd.
Okay. Now, this, I take it, was the first of a series of interview meetings. Is that correct?
Yes,
About how many times did you sit down and conduct an interview of this nature with Officer Furman?
approximately 12 to 15 times.
And were all of these interviews tape recorded?
No,
How many of them were tape recorded?
12 to 14. One in particular I remember that was not tape recorded was one in 1993 with then, I believe, Detective Furman, a gentleman who had optioned the property, and another woman officer that had been who had been a partner with Detective Furman.
Okay. But your general practice was to tape record the meetings between yourself and Officer Furman.
Yes.
And what was your purpose in tape recording them?
I knew that it seemed to me that he would be giving me a lot of information that would be hard for me to process because it's new, and
August
I needed
29th.
to hear his words for dialogue purposes to be able to construct accurate characters so that they would be clear. And I needed to, if it was a police procedural issue, I would need to listen to it again and be able to visualize it, to be able to cinematically write it. And I didn't feel that I would be able to take copious notes on a yellow pad that would enable me to listen actively, ask questions, participate, take the notes, and then be able to clearly cinematically write it.
And was Officer Furman aware that you were tape recording the conversations?
Yes,
You just put the tape recorder on the table,
yes.
turned it on?
I turned it on.
Were there times when you would turn the recorder off?
Yes.
Describe those times.
I didn't automatically turn the recorder on when we would first begin the interview. I would turn it on when I felt that he was ready to discuss perhaps some of the questions that I had given him ahead of time, or he just seemed that it was the appropriate time to start taping.
And were there occasional interruptions with people serving food or things of that nature?
Yes, there were interruptions.
And you would not record those interruptions?
Sometimes I would turn it off if I could see it would be a lengthy interruption.
Now, after you concluded the interview, what would you do with the tape?
I would put the tape in my transcribing machine at home in front of my computer and transcribe the tape. My transcribing machine accommodates transcriptions because it modulates the speed of the tape, so that you can slow it down or speed it up to be able to hear more clearly. It also has an audible. It modulates the volume and has a foot pedal to allow you to stop and start and rewind appropriately.
So this is professional transcribing equipment that you used?
Yes.
Did you have some experience in operating that equipment and transcribing tapes?
Yes, I was a professional transcriber in college.
And how long did you do that?
2 to 3 years. I worked for a retail credit company.
and your job at Retail Credit Company was actually transcribing taped interviews?
Sustained.
What were your duties at Retail Credit?
My job was to transcribe reports that inspectors would give regarding people they were investigating.
Now, were the transcriptions verbatim transcriptions of what was on the tape?
My transcriptions were of what Officer Furman would say, what I would hear him to say, and what I would say.
So what you put into the transcript were his words.
Yes.
Did you edit his words at all in the process of transcribing the tapes?
No.
And in fact, did you on at least one occasion tell Officer Furman that the transcripts you were preparing were verbatim transcripts of what he was saying?
Yes.
Now, in these transcripts, was the, or in the interviews that were taped, was the word ever used?
Yes.
Now, if that word appears in a transcript of the interview, is it because that word was spoken by Officer Furman?
Yes.
You never added that word to any of the transcription that you were preparing on any occasion when he didn't say the word, did you?
No.
After you transcribed the tapes, what did you do with the actual tapes?
I put them in a filing cabinet that's designed for tape storage.
And you preserved them?
Yes.
Now, have all of the tapes of all of your interviews with Officer Furman been preserved?
No.
Could you explain what happened with respect to any tapes that are no longer still in existence?
Yes. I inadvertently recorded another interview over one tape and a similar situation with another tape.
So when you taped over, it erased what was originally on the tape.
Yes.
Do you recall which interviews that happened to?
Our first interview, taped interview, and I believe it's numbered the 9th now.
Okay. Now, the first interview is the one you've already referred to on April 2nd, 1985?
Yes.
At Alice's restaurant?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately when the 9th interview was?
I'd have to look at it to be able to tell you.
We'll come back to that. Now, at the time, you were preparing what is called a treatment for a screenplay. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Could you explain the difference between a treatment and an actual screenplay?
A treatment is a narrative form of the story. It's in prose and in paragraph form. It delineates the principal characters, the protagonist, the antagonist, some of the secondary characters, the main problem in the story, what the obstacles are, possibly some dialogue, what the resolution might be.
And the screenplay that you were contemplating was to be a fictional story, was it not?
It was to be a fictional story based on reality.
Did you ever explain to Officer Furman the role he would play in terms of your process of creating this story?
Yes.
And what could you explain to us what that role was to be?
To help give me some ideas from the point of view of some men who might belong to this particular group, Men Against Women, and how men would be frustrated by some
Yes,
of the
pineapple.
actions of some women, and what kinds of things they would do to possibly stonewall women or make it uncomfortable for them, how they might react where they partnered with women, how they reacted to the administration, how partners' relationships, procedural issues.
So you wanted him to recount for you his own personal experience?
Sustained.
Did you communicate to him in any way an expectation as to the nature of the information he was to convey to you?
The nature of the information that I wish that he would convey would be something that would help me develop a story wherein a very competent woman officer is transferred into a precinct of where there's high crime, and she is forced to work with an officer who is a member of this particular group, Men Against Women. That was the structure or the
Good morning,
characters that I really
everyone.
wanted to
36th
work
District
with,
Court
and
is
so
now
the
in
information that I needed
session.
from him
I'm
was
Judge Shannon
what
A.
would working relationship be like? What would some of the frustrations be having to work with a woman officer? What would be some of her frustrations? And then possibly what could be some situations that might occur in a precinct such as this. It was structured after the 77th precinct.
Now, was there any difference between the nature of the first interview and the subsequent interviews of Officer Furman?
Or, do you understand the question?
Could you repeat it, please?
Was there any difference in the nature of the first interview that you conducted with Officer Furman and then the later interviews as the project developed?
Yes. In the first interviews, I really needed to hear what he had to say without directing him specifically, and be able to hear his words, his dialogue, the kinds of issues that he felt comfortable expressing to me. And then the later transcripts reflect that many of the points that we talk about are related to the story. I give general categories, and he responds. And the later interviews, I believe some of them are transcribed in terms of categories.
No.
It's not question and answer. It's more of a
I did
specified
not
topical interview.
Beep
And
out
also,
the cuss words. They're fine. I just beeped out one specific offensive word.
my transcriptions during some of the interviews, the later interviews, were reflecting my lack of time. I had just had
That
one
just
child,
has
was
no
having another
place on my
child,
channel.
and was working a couple of jobs and writing, and those things. So I had less time, and I really just needed to have him answer certain questions. So there's a difference in the transcriptions.
So the later interviews were much more directed to specific areas as opposed to getting background information?
Totally.
Yes.
Now, how quickly after the interviews took place did you prepare the transcript?
Within a day or two, I transcribed them.
So your transcriptions were done right after the interviews had taken place while they were still fresh in your mind?
Yes.
Sustained answer straight.
Why did you do the transcription within a day or two after the interview?
I was very interested in the project, and again, I had more time initially. I could work later hours. I could work early in the morning. My time was more fluid. But I really wanted to be able to transcribe them and hear the dialogue. It's easier to transcribe something, especially when there's interruptions. It's easier to transcribe it when you're closer to the topic.
And after you prepared a transcription of the interview, did you deliver a copy of that transcription to Officer Furman?
I believe the first transcript I sent to him, along with some questions that I wanted to pursue in the following taped interview. At some point after most of our interviews during 1985, I gave him the collection of transcripts. I don't remember if I sent him each transcript. I remember the first one I did.
Okay, so you recall specifically that after the first interview, you sent him a copy of the transcript with a set of questions.
Right.
Overruled.
Was that in anticipation then of your second interview?
Yes, I had given him a series of questions to think about and see if he would like to answer those in preparation for our next interview.
And then at the conclusion or at a point where you had conducted a number of interviews, you gave him a bound set of the transcripts?
Yes.
Sustained. She didn't say anything about bound to transcripts.
Okay. Do you recall the form in which you gave him a set of transcripts?
I recall giving him at some point after our initial 85 interviews that collection of transcriptions,
in what form
I'd
did you
given
give
it
them to
to him in a 3-ring binder similar to the way that I had bound mine.
Your Honor, we have a 3-page document. A copy has been supplied to the people, headed Furman Questions Round 2. We would ask these 3 pages be
All right, 1364.
1364 for identification. May I approach?
You may.
Ms. McKinney, I'm handing you a 3-page document with numbered items from 1 through 31, and it's headed Furman. Could you look at that?
Yes.
You recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
These are the questions that I sent to Officer Furman after our first interview so that he could perhaps refresh his mind on what we had discussed, and then he would know what kinds of issues I would like to discuss the next time we met.
So you were actually giving him questions in advance of the interview, so for what purpose?
Well, time was limited. He was a very busy man, and I wanted him to understand what issues I really needed to talk about.
And did this list of questions contain specific references to the transcript that accompanied them?
Not every question. A few of the questions have references to page numbers of my original transcript.
Well, for example, item 15 on your list of questions. Does that refer to a specific page of the transcript that you're asking him to look at?
Yes, item 15.
Okay. Item 16. Is that a question that you asked him in the follow-up interview?
Yes.
And that question was, how do you hire someone who is capable of shooting someone in the back, number 1? And number 2, on what grounds would you determine who is capable of figuring out who the bad guys are?
Yes, that's number 16.
Was that question drawn from a specific reference in the transcript?
According to this and my notes, that was referring to page 25 of the first tape interview.
Are there other references in those questions to the transcript, either by quoting material in the transcript or referring to specific pages?
Yes, generally when there's parentheses around a word, that indicates that it's something that we possibly discussed. For instance, number 27, why is the chokehold considered brutality? That would be something that we had discussed.
Now, at any time in the course of your interviews, did Officer Furman ever indicate that there were any inaccuracies in the transcript?
No,
Now, at the same time that you were conducting these interviews with Officer Furman, were you meeting with other persons associated with the Los Angeles Police Department?
yes, I was during that period. I met with approximately 15 to 20 other officers from Los Angeles Police Department, either through the Parker Center on ride-alongs or some of the PTs at the Los Angeles Police Academy, along with around 20 to 25 police cadets there at the Los Angeles Police Academy, women cadets.
And did you also tape record those meetings and interviews?
Many of them were tape recorded. Some of the meetings and discussions with the cadet women were when I was there with them when they were in training and running and wrestling, watching them do that and observing their pre-training prior to entering Los Angeles Police Academy. So many of those were very informal and they weren't taped, but several of them were.
Now, were all of the interviews you conducted with Officer Furman just yourself and Officer Furman, or did you ever involve any third persons in the process?
No, there are several interviews where there is another party involved.
And for what purpose was that done?
Sometimes it's to give me additional information that it's hard to be able to acquire when you're conducting the interview because it's a one-on-one and you're looking at someone and trying to respond appropriately. You're not observing. So that was helpful information. One particular interview was a woman who was going to pretend to be a woman who wanted to enter the police academy, and Officer Furman was going to talk with her about his feelings about that. Another interview was
couple
with
weeks.
a gentleman with
I'm
whom I
ready
was working at UCLA.
Diet
an athlete
again, so
who
couple
was
weeks.
going to talk with Officer Furman. Another was with a gentleman who had optioned the piece, and it was more of a partial story conference.
Now, did these interviews with the woman who was portraying someone interested in going into LAPD and with the gentleman who was a student of yours at UCLA, did you say?
Yes, he was one of the students with whom I worked.
Perhaps you could identify these individuals. Who were these persons who played these roles?
By name?
Yes.
You were like, the woman was Lori Diaz. She was a personal friend who agreed to do this confidentially. And the gentleman was James Washington. And the producer was John Flynn.
And were these interviews tape recorded as well?
Yes, they were.
And did the interviews with Lori Diaz and James Washington also take place in 1985?
Yes.
Did you find any of the comments that Officer Furman was making in the course of your interviews offensive?
I heard your question. I didn't hear what happened with the court after that.
I
I'm
believe
sorry.
you can
answer the
answer.
question.
Yes.
Did you ever confront him or question him about the statements he was making?
Generally, no.
Why not?
I had a journalistic approach to this project with all the people that I interviewed. And for me, that means that when I'm trying to hear someone's point of view, even though I might not espouse their feelings, whether they're a man or a woman, I don't react in a way that will cause them to drop their feeling of confidentiality, their desire to communicate their ideas with me. So I don't respond in a way that will cause them to stop talking to me.
Your Honor, at this point, we would like to take Ms. McKinney through each of the items in our offer of proof to have her authenticate the context of the conversation, that in the case of the transcriptions, it is an accurate record of what Officer Furman said, and where we do have a tape recording to authenticate his voice.
Proceed.
We do have a video that was prepared in advance which would display the text, and where we have the voice, play the voice accompanying the text. With the court's permission, I'd like to utilize that in the examination.
Proceed. I take it have you given a copy of this to the prosecution?
Yes.
All right. Proceed. We'll mark the videotape as Defense Exhibit 1365.
Perhaps it would help if Ms. McKinney were able to look at a copy of our offer of proof at the same time that we're displaying the text.
Perhaps at the same time, I don't think that there's going to be any question about the authenticity of the tapes. The tapes speak for themselves. The only question is the transcripts where there are no tapes. And I think that having Mr. Kinney go through tapes which do speak for themselves was just going to spend a lot of time proving the obvious. We could probably save a lot of time by cutting to the chase and pointing the transcripts that are on the tapes.
Well, there does have to be some foundation that she recognizes the voices of who's there, though. Some basic foundation.
I think one of the issues,
Stipulate that she would identify her voice and that of Mark Furman on the tapes.
I think one of the issues Your Honor has to address is how much consumption of time will be involved in presenting this to the jury. I think we can very expeditiously kind of give you a preview of precisely how this material would be presented to the jury so that Your Honor is in a better position to rule.
All right, well, let's at least start with the non-transcribed matters.
There's the additional issue of whether she had an independent recollection apart from the tapes, and that would have to be established.
Well, I'm sure that'll be on cross-examination gone into.
Well, the problem with this foundation, speaking of, is that the tape should not be played until that area is explored, because then you get into a leading situation.
No,
I intend to elicit, as we go through each excerpt, her memory of Detective Furman speaking those words.
proceed.
If I can interrupt.
Yes.
I'm handing you, Ms. McKinney, a copy of the offer of proof that was prepared for the court, containing excerpts from the transcripts and the tapes that were supplied pursuant to subpoena to the court.
All right, and which page are you referring to?
We'll begin on
offer
page 9.
It's the amended offer,
Yes,
not the initials?
yes, the amended offer of proof. All right, if we could begin
Wait,
with...
wait. Did you change the numbers in the amended offer proof?
No. I'll be referring to these excerpts in terms of the three categories we established, Your Honor. B being racial animosity and the use of racial epithets, which will include items B1 through B40, and actually we added one more, B41, in a supplement to the offer of proof. And then,
Let me ask you, just as a sheer curiosity, do you actually anticipate that any court would allow you to have all 41 of these incidents? Isn't there some cumulative problem here, or redundancy?
Well, I certainly plan to address the question of the cumulative issue in the argument. If you'd like, I'll address it now.
Well, I'm just asking, do you think in presenting this issue to the court, do you think I really need to contemplate all 41 of these? Aren't there perhaps a half dozen of these that capture the essence of what you want to present?
Well, we believe there are 17, to be exact, that will be admissible for two purposes, not only to show the use of the word, but to show actual racial bias and hostility. And
All right,
certainly,
then why do I have to listen to 41? So you've conceded at this point that the remainder is...
well, certainly, I think we're entitled to elicit that there were 41. But in terms of the ones that would actually be displayed or heard, it's not unreasonable to suggest that the actual display or hearing of the epithets would be limited to the ones that have relevance beyond simply the use of the word. I'm certainly not going to argue that there's any evidentiary significance to hearing just that word 41 times, but we believe the context in which the word is used in many of these examples goes beyond simply the use of a racial epithet.
Then wouldn't it be a more efficient use of my time, your time, and the jury's time if you limit yourself to the 17 that you think are the ones that are appropriately offered to the court?
I think we're kind of jumping the gun at this point to start talking about editing it in terms of the offer of proof. What we would like to do, and we can go through it very quickly. I mean, these will not take much time at all, and we've edited them down to the bare bones, so that in each case it's just the couple of sentences surrounding the use of the word, and Ms. McKinney can put it in context, and it won't take much time at all. And then at that point, the court will be in a position to say, well, now we need to talk about what the jury should actually hear.
You're offering me 41, but you really only want 17.
No, we want 41. I mean, I think that the counter-argument obviously is going to be, well, you know, this was inadvertent. He didn't remember speaking these words 7 or 8 years ago in the context of a screenplay interview.
Play your tape.
Could we start with number 1, please?
No, we're not going to stop yet. We're just going to hear a little bit of one tape before we stop today, because it's just not fair to stop right now. That would just be so mean.
Number 1.
Number 1 is from transcript number 1. There's no sound.
All right, that was number 1.
That was number 1. Do you recall Officer Furman speaking these words?
Yes.
And when and where were they spoken?
And they were spoken on April 2nd in a first taped interview.
All right. And this is the interview that the tape was inadvertently taped over. Is that correct?
Yes.
And are these words that we got females and dumb and all your Mexicans that can't even write the name of the car they drive, is that an accurate record of Officer Furman's actual words?
Yes.
And this transcription was made while those words were fresh in your memory?
Objection, that's leading.
Sustained.
That's
Sir,
foundational, Your Honor.
It's leading, counsel, and it's the issue that's before the court, wouldn't you say?
Right. Did you prepare this transcription of these words immediately after you heard them?
That's also leading.
Sustained.
How soon after you heard these words did you prepare this transcript?
I prepared this transcript within a day or two of the interview.
And as you look at these words now, are they an accurate reflection of what was on the tape?
Yes.
And they accurately record what Officer Furman said to you on April 2nd?
Yes.
Overruled.
All right, if we could have the second excerpt. Do you recall those words being spoken by Officer Furman?
Yes.
And when and where were they spoken?
They were spoken during the first taped interview in early April.
And again, that was recorded how soon after the words were spoken?
Within a day or two, that would have been recorded at the same time.
transcription.
That would have been transcribed at the same time the previous.
Now, in this excerpt, there is a blank. It says, if I'm wrestling with some blank. Is the blank something that you put into the transcript?
Yes.
And why would you do that?
It would have been a word that was inaudible, but I just wouldn't type out inaudible. That would let me know that it was something that I didn't understand.
All right. So you would, if there were inaudible words that you could not record verbatim, you would indicate by inserting a blank into the transcript?
Yes.
If we could have the third excerpt, please. Do you recall those words being spoken by Officer Furman?
Yes.
And when and where were they spoken?
During the first taped interview
On April 2nd?
on April 2nd.
And does the transcript accurately record what was said by Officer Furman at that time?
Yes.
And how soon after did you make the transcription of this comment?
Within a day or two of the interview.
All right.
Excuse me, Mr. Kinney. With
Sir.
regards to this April 2nd interview, you transcribed the entire tape within a day or two.
Of the interview?
Of the interview.
Yes.
All right.
In one sitting, I transcribed the entire interview.
All right.
Number 4, please. Do you recognize those words as being spoken by Officer Furman?
Aside from Fatburger, yes.
Right. You don't recall a specific reference to Fatburger?
I do reading it, but I don't have a recollection unless I read it.
Do you recall the context in which these words were spoken?
We were talking about the way some
Overruled.
we
You
were
can answer the question.
we were talking about the way some suspects may be arrested, and I'm not familiar with 22nd and Western, so it didn't set up a visual picture for me where Fatburger was.
At the time of these interviews, Officer Furman was a patrol officer in Westwood. Is that correct?
Yes.
In this excerpt, was he describing an event that actually took place while he was working as a patrol officer in Westwood?
Objection, on foundation.
Sustained. Foundation.
Could you explain how it came about that he described this incident to you?
Objection, that's leading.
Overruled.
I need to see my original transcript to be able to read what comes before.
All right.
I'll object to that procedure, Your Honor.
On what basis? Overruled.
May I?
You may.
I have here, Mr. Kinney, a set of the transcripts that have been prepared, including
She indicated she hasn't completed her question.
She's indicated that she needs to refresh her recollection from her original transcript, is what she's indicated.
does the binder I just handed you contain your transcription of the first interview on April 2nd?
Yes.
If you could refer to page 33
No.
of that interview.
They did not. Okay, so what's going on is there are many, multiple many Furman tapes. Okay? Alright. We're going to hear them. Okay? But some of the tapes were taped over. She had taped over them with other things since then. We can't hear those because they were taped over. However, she transcribed them all the day after she made the tapes. So they have the transcriptions. We just don't get to hear them. But we will hear some.
Does that page contain the Fatburger excerpt?
Yes.
Putting that in context, can you tell us whether this was an explanation or a description of an actual event?
Objection, the foundation. Speculation.
You can answer the question.
Could you ask the question again, please? I was reading.
Is the excerpt a description of an actual event?
For conclusion.
Overruled.
This is a description of an actual event that took place, according to Officer Furman, on the previous night.
So he was telling you what had happened the night before. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you. If we could proceed to excerpt number 5.
With regards to this April 2nd interview, you transcribed the entire tape within a day or two.
Of the interview?
Of the interview.
Yes. In one sitting, I transcribed the entire interview.
Right.
Correct.
If we could have the next excerpt, please, number 5. Do you recall those words being spoken by Officer Furman?
Yes.
Can you put them in context for us? What were you speaking about at the time?
We were talking about the administration of LAPD, some of the other administration officers.
So the reference to Commander Hickman, is that a reference to an actual person?
Yes, it is.
And approximately when and where was this statement made?
This was made during the first taped interview on April 2nd.
And is the transcript an accurate record of what Officer Furman said at that time?
Yes.
And it was made how soon after the conversation took place?
Within a day or two of the taped interview.
We could proceed to number 6. Do you recall those words being spoken by Officer Furman?
Yes.
And when and where were they spoken?
They were spoken during the first taped interview, April 2nd.
Why don't we just assume all of these are during the first interview until we get to...
Fine, Your Honor, I'll proceed on that assumption. What were you talking about at the time? In what context did this reference to Ethiopia come up?
I need to refer. It was a tangent. It wasn't specific to the story. But we had been talking about the media and the media's role in projecting a positive work capacity for women.
And this was an event or an event that was in the news at the time?
Sustain.
Was there some topical nature of this reference to Ethiopia?
I don't know.
If we could have the next excerpt. Do you recall those words being spoken by Officer Furman?
Yes.
In 3 minutes,
And the transcript
we will
that
hear the first tape, I
we just
think.
presented is an accurate record of what he said?
Yes.
What were we talking about, or what were you talking about at that time in the context?
Thanks to you at
Oh,
home for being with us this
no.
hour. Really, really happy
That
to
was an accident.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. So in what universe did we think we were going to get to this quickly? This stinks. It's okay. Try to listen to what she's saying. It's important. I know we all want to get to the tapes. We are so close. Now I have to press play again carefully.
If we could have the next excerpt. Do you recall those words being spoken by Officer Furman?
Yes.
And the transcript that we just presented is an accurate record of what he said?
Yes.
What were we talking about, or what were you talking about at that time in the context of discussing people in some place don't want in their town?
We were discussing where Officer Furman grew up in Washington.
The state of Washington?
Yes.
So here he was recounting his own experience of growing up, is that correct?
Objection, call for conclusion.
Sustain.
Could you tell us whether what Officer Furman was describing was based on reality?
Objection.
Sustain.
In what context was this statement made in terms of whether it reflected actual events or whether it was fictional?
Overruled. Overruled. What context was this comment made in?
He was talking about where he grew up. I grew up in Washington.
Yes, actually, why don't you take that back, because she only asked to refresh her recollection as to that one item. The issue here is testing her recollection. That's one of the issues here, since there's no tape recording.
Well,
Why don't you just close that and put it up on the...
Do you presently recall in the first conversation talking with Officer Furman about his personal background and where he grew up?
Overruled.
I recall talking with him about this particular issue where he grew up.
We can have the next excerpt, please. You recall those words being spoken by Officer Furman?
Yes.
And is the transcript we just presented an accurate record of what Officer Furman said in that first interview on April 2nd?
Yes.
And in what context were these words spoken?
We were discussing the difference between PT officers, physical training officers at the academy when Officer Furman trained as opposed to PT officers at the academy at that particular time in 1985.
All right. Do you have the next excerpt? Do you recall Officer Furman speaking those words?
Yes,
And were these spoken in the first interview on April 2nd?
yes,
Is the transcript an accurate reflection of what Officer Furman said?
yes.
And in what context was this statement made?
He was explaining the use of the chokehold and the reason for eliminating it.
All right. Your Honor, that concludes the excerpts from the transcript number 1, which was the first interview. We can now proceed to interviews where we do have audio tape available.
All right,
We could
proceed.
have the next excerpt, please.
We'll offer the authenticity. And it takes speak for itself.
Mr.
Well, Your Honor, we need to make the same showing in terms of the context in which these words were spoken.
Your Honor, obviously, the court has the entire transcript to the extent that there is context available. The court already has it, and it takes speak for themselves. We have the entire tape for these. There's no need for this.
All right. Mr. Allman, though, I think he does need to establish at least some basic foundation as to the voices. Proceed.
Policemen also use Bubba a lot, because it's a slang term, because, they call each other Bubba. Sometimes you go, hey Bubba, what's happening, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that kind of conversation, as somebody said.
Do you recall those words being spoken by Officer Furman?
Yes,
And you recognize his voice?
yes,
This is an actual tape recording of an interview you conducted?
yes.
And when and where did this conversation take place?
This was in April.
She has the offer
The
of proof.
offer of proof.
You objecting to that? All right, would you put that down, Mr. McKinney? Turn it over.
And when and where did this conversation take place?
This took place sometime in April
Of
of
1985.
1985.
All right. And do you recall the context in which those words were spoken?
Yes. We were talking about nicknames that officers or partners give to each other.
Thank you. Do you have the
Excuse me
next?
just a second. Ms. McKinney, in your transcript, you have down Baba, B-A-B-A. What I heard was Bubba. You distinguish between those two terms?
Is there a difference between those terms? Yes.
All right. Which is accurate, your transcript or the transcript that we just saw here?
B-U-B-B-A.
Bubba?
Yes.
All right, so your transcript, original transcript is not accurate as to the specific term.
No, it's a misspelling.
Do you have the next excerpt?
All right, Ms. McKinney, have you listened to all these other tapes? All the other tapes that you've given to the lawyers in this case?
I listened to them when I transcribed them, yes.
All right. Mr. Allman?
Can we proceed?
No, if she's saying that these are all Mr. Furman on the tapes, I don't need to hear anymore. I've read the offer of proof, I've heard the tapes, I've read the transcripts.
There are issues that come up, Your Honor, in terms of the context of each of these statements. The people, for example, in their brief, have argued that some of these involved the fictional role-playing in which Detective Furman or Officer Furman at the time was entering into some sort of a fictional context at the time he spoke. Of course, our contention is that he still used the word, and when he testified, he didn't make an exception for fictional role-playing, so that's simply a question for the jury. But as a foundational matter, we believe that with just a couple of exceptions, we can show that each of these uses of the word were in the context of a conversation in which he was recounting actual experiences or giving his personal opinions and did not involve creating dialogue or role-playing with respect to fictional characters. So
All right.
we'd like to proceed to show the context of each of the statements.
Well, let me ask you this then. Then why was it necessary for me to take all these tapes home with the offer of proof, with the transcripts, and read all this stuff and listen to all this stuff?
Well, so Your Honor could put this all into context. I mean,
Okay.
we are dealing with a very
I've heard it.
selective
I've read it.
editing.
I've seen it. All right?
Could I have a moment? We're in a position, Your Honor, where, not knowing how Your Honor is going to rule on any of these offers, we believe we're entitled to make a record to show the admissibility and the
You
and
have
the
a written
relevance.
offer of proof. You have these tape recordings. You've lodged the transcripts with the court. You have a record. What more do we need to do?
Well, I think Your Honor needs to have a sense of how this is going to be presented to the jury as well. I mean, our position is what we have done with a massive amount of material is to refine it, to edit it, to put it into a format where it can be very concisely and with great precision presented to the jury, just cut to the bare bones of what is relevant without any embellishment. And I think that's a very relevant factor for Your Honor to recognize in terms of considering what you're going to admit and allow the jury to hear. And I think it would be very helpful to Your Honor to see just how and in what format and in what context we intend to present this material to the jury.
But this video was submitted to the court yesterday afternoon, correct?
Yes,
All right. As part of the offer of proof.
that's correct.
All right, so I've seen it.
But Your Honor has not heard any testimony as to the context in which each of these statements were made.
But don't I have the transcript for that purpose?
Well, the transcript, they're saying, they're objecting to her even looking at the transcript in terms of her own memory of the context in which these statements were made and the conversations took place. We believe we have a right to present the testimony of the witness who will actually testify before the jury to establish the context of each of these statements, to show that, in fact, these are the opinions, these are the personal experiences of Officer Mark Furman. These are not fiction. These are not the creations of a playwright. These are the words that he was speaking in terms of his own life experience.
All right, proceed. Her comments on the context.
All right, I will limit.
Understanding, I've read it, I've listened to it.
I'll limit my questions as we go through each excerpt to simply having her put them in context.
All right.
Robert, why do you need witnesses to memory as dim as it may be 10 years later for context when you have the entire tape conversation for context?
Well, we don't have the entire tape conversation. There are a lot of stops and starts here. It starts in the middle of conversations. It ends in the middle of conversations. I don't know what the predicate was to all of these things. There are a lot of unanswered questions with these tapes.
And we're assuming that this witness can now remember this?
That's a judgment call, isn't it? Proceed.
We have
Thank
the
you.
next
I
excerpt.
think hold on. We're on number 12, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
number 12.
And it's going to be necessary to play all of the tapes and give her testimony to each of the context as opposed to letting her look at the transcript
No, the tape and the spoken word is the best evidence at this point. All right, Mr. Harris, just rewind that shortly, please.
Number 12?
Yes, sir. There. Stop.
Yes.
See you there.
Okay. Do you have any problems about it? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
you got it. You got it.
Okay.
Just, you want to know that?
Can you tell us the context in which those words were spoken?
Yes, this is related to the story. I would be helpful to look at the transcript, but to my best recollection, I was asking how an officer would approach a suspect and stop a suspect. And these two suspects, or the suspect, I believe they are black Muslims.
All right, we have the next excerpt.
Black Muslims would go on, listen.
What is it there?
And do you recall the context in which those words were spoken?
It's a similar context as the last.
Was this immediately after the previous excerpt about stopping?
I don't know. I would have to see the transcript.
Would it help if you looked at the transcript in terms
Yes,
of?
because there are two times where a suspect is stopped, one in a car, and I asked for that information, how an officer would stop what they consider to be a suspicious car, what kind of issues would come up in that, and then there's another time where an officer is stopping two suspects on a street. So there are two different times.
All right.
Speaking of time, I can't make time do what I want. I gotta go now. We gotta stop. We're getting there. We gotta stop. But tomorrow's gonna be really full. Don't worry. Thank you so much for coming out, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope that you guys have a great day. I'll see you all again real soon, okay? Bye, guys.